Alright, hope everybody is doing well in this video. I know some people in the YouTube community are not doing too well, so they're not making videos or they're just dialing back here. And I wanted to just mention very quickly here is that I'm just still here trying to do, whatever content I'm doing, and I'm seeing people go to other content. When somebody, leaves YouTube or is not making videos, there's some other people that are just getting crazy amount of views because they have all these crazy things they're doing. Sometimes they're wrong and they know they're wrong, but it gets views. So I'll just show you what I'm doing right now and then just talk about that here. So I wanted to thank Byron for sending me some cards. I had it kind of recorded, but that video is kind of out of date now. I got this a few days ago. He sent me this really awesome Esther Williams proof from Panini Americana. I actually used to have some of these, and I think I still do. This is number 24 out of 250 serial numbered, so that's really cool. 250 isn't a huge number, so that's pretty neat. Oops, the penny sleeve kind of ripped a little bit there. Then we got this really cool Abraham Lincoln. Maybe I could find somebody Lincoln related to get that autographed. This is the guy who played Toby Whitewood. This is David Stambaugh from Bad News Bears. And the thing about this one is I think I have that out TTM, so it's very cool, because if it never comes back, then I will at least have one there. And then we have Penny Marshall, talented actress there. I'm not exactly sure that's a rock or something, or are they just kind of, I don't know what that said there, but I think probably they covered up something there and altered the picture there. This card is very weird here because it says Golden Age, and it's in like a tiny font where you can't read that, and there's like nothing going on here. It's just a very strange card there. So the design is okay, but they didn't get like the logistics, If you want to say Panini Golden Age or something like that, you should be able to read that. So there's that one there. Then we got the ever-popular Barry Williams. I do have Christopher Knight. I sent 2 of those teen magazine photographs way back, probably 5 years ago even. And he signed both of those in some amazing paint pen. But Barry Williams, I think he's paid for the website. And then we have Babe Ruth, so maybe if Babe Ruth's granddaughter is still alive, maybe I can get that one to get signed. So that is very cool. Thank you for that. I did not have that Ruth for my Allen and Ginter binder, so very nice of that one there. Now, I wanted to show you this here. It's a card I'm sending out. I have other cards of this particular person, but this is the only one I want because it's a thin card. This is Tracy Lawrence, Country Music Backstage Pass, one of the ones that look like it might sign okay. I do have his relic card here, but that would just be ridiculously hard to send off. I mean, I guess I could do it in a bubble mailer, but I really can't afford to do bubble mailers for everybody. And this is the card I'm sending him, this particular cool one from Tennessee. I'm not sure exactly what it's depicting here. This is Chickamauga, Chattanooga. I believe that's Tennessee. Something like that. But anyway, there's my letter that I wrote to him, just little bits of stuff. And then again, that was the card. Unfortunately, I thought that was a scratch. It was just a smudge there. I've kind of smudged this so I can kind of get the autograph to stick, whatever he uses. Hopefully he doesn't use ballpoint pen. I was going to send one of those cassette covers, but unfortunately somebody had written their name on it and it just looked bad. Then we got a couple books I picked up. This one was free, Garage, Attic, and Basement Storage. So I'll research that one there. What's kind of cool, if I can find it here, most of these are from Northern California, these Sunset books, and a lot of the pictures look like they're from Northern California, the way they kind of are decorated here. I'm not sure that all the, but there's a tiny edge of a car there. I don't know what that is. Sometimes you can get a date of when these, by the pictures of the cars in there. But there's another car here, if I can find it in the garage. That's almost identical to the car that I had when I would say I had, but my family had. That looks like a Plymouth Volare or something like that. I think we had the Dodge version of that, and that just looks really cool. It looks like maybe a station wagon, maybe it's just some sort of four-door, I don't know, but it's just a piece of a car there, and that's kind of cool. And that's the same color, so I think that a cream color there. Or at least it's either white or cream color in the picture there. I don't see any other examples of that. Maybe that other half of the car was part of that. And just kind of cool bicycle storage. Some of these storage solutions are not very good compared to today, but again, it was free. And then they're just showing, different types of cars from back in the day there, or generic cars there. Just kind of funny there. But yeah, and one of these books, I've never been able to verify it because I lived just outside of San Francisco, north of San Francisco, And there's a picture of like a playground, and it looks a lot like the old school that I went to, and it's about the right time frame from the early 80s to like the I say 84 or so, 84, 85, something like that. It's the right time period, but I can't 100% be sure that they're the students or it's the right playground, but I think it was a relatively new playground when I was there, so don't know, but I don't have that book to share with you. And then this one I picked up, and I think I cajoled the workers to give me this is kids book price at the bin store. They're really trying their darndest to not make anything kids books. It's ridiculous. They want $2.79 for every book, and it turns out that many of those, that's the actual asking price on the internet or less. So, I mean, it's just, ridiculous. But I got this for 50 cents essentially, and I wanted this because it's all in German, and I wanted to learn about bicycles in German. So I think that was kind of cool. Radsporttechnik. So Radsport is bicycle sport, or, bicycle racing tech. I don't know, you know what I mean. Mein Rad means my bicycle, or my bicycle. Essentially, I'm just, a junkie. I can read it, but I can't. Let's see. Allein diese Schüsse kann alle durch, or something like that. I mean, I can read German sort of, but I don't necessarily understand all of it. So, but I just want to kind of familiarize myself with this kind of cool book here. There was a bunch of German books there, and I thought that was kind of fun. It doesn't take up a lot of room there. I liked collecting. I would say photographs, but kind of like the souvenir cards, kind of like the hero cards, but they're much smaller. They're like index card size, maybe a little smaller or larger of bicycle. Like a Tour de France type stuff, but a lot of that's not available in the USA, and so I did get some USA bike riders, a few other ones. But my seller, one of my, I'll say favorite sellers, but he had a lot of stuff, and he was in Belgium or something like that, and he does not do eBay anymore through the United States. A lot of times they don't. This is why I'm sort of making this video. I kind of wanted to update people on my collection here. I got the COMC Vintage in here. If you haven't seen that video, please watch that. My video will get probably 25 views, and some video about how disgusting the hobby is will get 2,500 views. I didn't talk about how disgusting the hobby was. I just showed cards that were abandoned, essentially, because I'm set building and I'm also getting them autographed. So this is kind of, you won't be able to see any of this right here. But I have a new binder collection, so I'll grade a new binder. But again, this binder will not take up a lot of room, and once I get my binders compacted and reorganized, then it all makes sense here. But, after my COMC, I just kind of had an aha moment, because I like connecting things together that don't connect. So a lot of the people in the YouTube community that don't make videos as much as they used to, I mean, they still do to some point, but they started collecting, people, with musical instruments in the background, people with weird hats, people with chew, big chew, a wad of chew, or just unusual things happen in the background. Sometimes, they would show like, a radio tower in the background. And I have something sort of along those lines, but I have a very specific task. And it doesn't matter if I collect doubles, triples, or 10s or 20s of that same particular card, and I have kind of a theme in mind here. It's just very unusual, and no one's ever tried this before. I don't even think that what I'm collecting has ever been collected more or less in mass here. Not every person has a card like that, and not every person has a card, identical. So if you think about cards from the 1950s or 60s, you get one card, it's kind of blurry and dull, and the next card is super bright and very sharp, and you can see what's going on. So it has to be relatively well pronounced what's going on there, and it has to have a certain type of whatever. I'm trying to just not give away what I'm trying to do. You can guess all you want in the comments. You still won't figure it out, But I said, not every player has this. I'm really not collecting star players because that would put it out of, proportion. I just don't want to have one card, and that's it, you know what I mean? And some of these I already have in my collection. Some of them have been autographed, and some of them have not. And of course, you know, most of the players from the 60s or 70s, 50s or whatever, a lot of them are deceased. So I'm just picking whatever players I can get. It doesn't seem to necessarily matter. But it was just kind of like a picture and some theme music kind of hit me, and it just kind of all came together. It's a bunch of events. I don't want to get, you know, philosophical about it, but it's just like, you know what, that's kind of fun. It's not going to showcase everybody. It's only going to showcase, you know, maybe even the maximum of 10 or 20 players total. You know, that could just maybe put it into perspective. You know, I'm not going to say if it's in the foreground or the background. Could be on the back of the card. You know, that could very well be. You know, I might even be talking about it right now and you wouldn't even know. Oh yeah, I'm going to be focusing on the cartoons. Chuckle, 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 nudge, nudge, wink, wink, know what I mean, know what I mean? So that kind of thing, you know, you just have no clue. But again, the stipulation is they've got all of the vintage cards. And pretty much, I mean, for the most part, they really can't be 70s cards. I mean, there could be something that, you know, from 70, maybe. But also I found in my searching, I found a couple cards I'm going to get TTM. Some of the cards are really jacked up. I mean, one of them is really jacked up. But I really want to get that because I think it would be cool to have him sign this really jacked up card there. Again, I am not worried about that at all. Now, will I be collecting the buybacks of these cards? Currently, the buybacks I found for about $2.50 each. And you know me, when I want to do buybacks, they got to be practically free. The last two buybacks I did were $1 a piece, and I haven't found too many dollar buybacks. That's really what I want to be at for, you know, commons and that sort of thing. I want to be at the $1 piece. The last thing I want to talk about here, my voice is kind of going here. Well, actually, it was a busy day because there were some tree cutters, the city or whoever is responsible for maintaining the power lines. They wanted to keep the trees cut away, and they were really in no danger, but they hadn't cut them last year, from what I understand, and then this year, and so I said, just cut as much as you want. I mean, really, within reason. They kept the main trees, and they cut one 100% down and another smaller one, and there was a bunch of wood out there, and I marked it free because they left some pretty sizable chunks there. Think of like the size that could fit in your wood stove, and then just put like a half a foot on that piece of wood there, and then double it because there's like twosies. So they're almost not easy enough for me to, I can roll them perhaps and drag them, but I cannot, you know, I can't really lift them without ruining my back. I mean, I probably could, but I don't want to do that. So essentially I left them all in one spot and put a free sign on it, and they can have whatever they want. If they want them. You know, they're all very bright green, so they may not be able to be burned for months on end. But leave them out in the hot sun for a couple of months and they'd be good to go. But I just don't need any firewood. And, I mean, I guess I could go down the end of the driveway and start splitting them, but that's not what I want to do. But I wanted to end up here because people are still doing, Mark from Kentucky did his room tour. I cannot do a room tour, and it might be years before I can do a room tour because I have saved everything. Now, a number of years ago when I was at home all the time, nowhere to go, I was able to clear out a crazy amount of stuff out of here. Crazy amount of things here. And I threw away a bunch of trash today, a whole trash bag's worth of stuff out of here. And actually did some vacuuming and removed the rug. The rug is getting very, very beat up in here. And I got to repair the carpet down where I'm sitting here. That's got to have a huge repair to it. But all kinds of stuff just boxed up. So I'm really focusing on using up a lot of old stuff for TTM. This one here was one of the envelopes I just got here. I'm already at 14 minutes almost. This one here is the Toby Lawrence one, or sorry, Tracy Lawrence one here. And you see there's a fold mark here. I don't know if you can see that, but that's how the envelope was. So I was able to get this card in here. And then I was able to, these are all the State of Oregon envelopes. I put my address on there. I'm going to cover that up somehow. Each envelope is going to be differently decorated, covered up. Put the address and stamp over here depending on what I choose to use for that particular one. This will go out at some point here. I thought I had written his address on an envelope, but I guess I hadn't gotten around to it. I just got sidetracked today with other things that were going on there. So that's pretty much it. I just want to say that I'm just staying out of it right now. Every once in a while I'll leave a comment that's a little kind of ridiculous, but pretty much I'm staying out of whatever is going on. And the card show, I have zero expectations in it. Zero. I said, you know what, I'm going to go to this free card show. There's probably 60 tables or something like that. I don't know exactly. So do I pay for parking or not? I don't want. I'm not going to worry about that one there. But it's free to get into. If my friends show up to this card show, yay. If they don't, that's okay too. It's not a big deal. And I'm sure I will see other people vlogging in there. I'll probably see other people that I sort of recognize from YouTube, and I might go up to them, hey, are you so-and-so? If they say no, that's fine. I'm not going to worry about that one. I'm basically looking for PC cards here, you know, base commons for vintage stuff, things that I needed for autograph purposes, if they are cheap enough. If everybody's triple the price of COMC, then there's no reason for me to worry about it. I just wanted to go to a card show for the last 25 years, and finally, if everything goes well, I will be able to go to one. And, you know, and I'll spend my Saturday there and hopefully, you know, stay under like some crazy $200 budget. It's like, oh my gosh, that's nothing. But you know what? I really don't want anything or need anything. And if luck would have it, I would find some cards for my PC. Because I don't necessarily need to get cards all from COMC. But I will have a COMC order soon. By the time this video is done, I will have a COMC in the works. I feel good enough to where I can put in one more order. It'll probably take a month to get here, but you know, and it'll be probably like a close to 20 card order for around 20 bucks, if that makes sense. That will give you an idea, kind of. I suppose if there's a way to do it, sometimes you can look and see what has recently, so I guess you can, not necessarily. If I pick the one individual example, maybe. But see, I'm picking cards that have like about 10 or 15 different that you can choose from, you know, and then, you know, what I think and what I think is not important. And what I mean is, when you do buy cards off COMC, there are cards that perpetually sit there. You know, they float between the 35 and 75 price mark there. And what happens is that those don't move. Nobody has the incentive to change their stores or empty their whatever or change their prices. So once I start buying the lowest price examples of certain things, then something is now the lowest price card, and then it does eventually go on sale and become cheaper. So I might afford myself another COMC in the future when people said there's not a lot of this card right now, and or I have these, I need to put a price in here, or needed to lower this one because it's sold at that price, might as well, you know, dump it for this price. And so there might be some more stuff going on there. So very happy that I'm kind of changing the way, you know, I'm just moving stuff around. If you don't see it, that's because I took it, or maybe you're seeing other stuff because now that's more visible. I'm in 17 minutes. I'm going to call it quits at that. I just don't have the energy or time to really go through all this crazy, insane amounts of cards that are just sitting here not sure what to do with. So that's for another day, but I just want to keep the positivity going, and thank you for watching.